approve, and 49% say they believe the economy will get worse over the next year. All right, with all those cheerful numbers flying right at him, joining us now is Mark Leibovich, staff writer with The Atlantic and, of course, Msnbc political contributor and author of the book about how Trump took over and transformed the Republican Party. Thank you for your servitude. Mark, I want to ask you just off the bat, what do you think is behind these numbers as Trump hits the 3-month mark of his presidency? You know, we're 10 days out from his first 100 days in office.
Well, I mean, things look like they're going rocky. I mean, like the stock market, the economy is getting very mixed forecasts. I mean, there's a lot of, apparent instability going on here, a lot of chaos going on here. This is not what I would call a smooth start. Now, obviously, this is subjective, but these numbers are markedly different from where they were 6 weeks ago. And obviously, you have to take perhaps years or so, and we'll just have to see.
I also want to ask you where you see some of his court roadblocks playing out. You know, he's getting stopped a couple places, and now his appointees are kind of, when he came into office, he said he wanted to deport undocumented criminals, but more and more, it doesn't seem like that's all that is getting deported, right? You've got graduate students, you've got parents, you've got folks with no criminal record whatsoever. Do we know why that scope broadened to kind of everyday people? And do we think his voter base is going to care?
I mean, they seem to be proceeding as if they don't, right? But I mean, I think this goes to a larger uncertainty about, who's going to be deported. I mean, who's going to lose jobs? I mean, there are people, a significant number of people who did not expect their jobs to be in jeopardy, whether in the government or in other sectors, that are finding a great deal of uncertainty around that. But look, I mean, I think whether you're a criminal or not, I mean, the Trump administration seems totally intent on portraying the people they deport or wanted to deport as playbook. I think we've seen it so far. I think we'll continue to.
I also want to ask, Trump has taken executive action against law firms, private universities, and individuals whom he believes were involved in litigation against him when he was out of office or who contested his claims in the 2020 election. Why do you think more Republicans are not speaking out about this? It does seem like a slippery slope, and it could be happening to almost any one of us at any time. Why isn't there more concern about the precedent here?
Yeah, I mean, that to me is the ongoing mystery and frankly, just mystifying part of all this, which is not so much who Trump is or how people perceive him, but it's the people who know better in the middle, who continue to support him no matter what, for whatever reason, whether it's fear, whether it's, just sort of wanting to be in line. But the Republican, I mean, he basically runs with the impunity of the Republican Party, starting with its Senate, with its House, with his own cabinet and so forth. So, yeah, look, I mean, that to me is one of the great sort of unsolved, fascinating, but also tragic parts of the whole administration and the whole Trump era.
And quickly, before I let you go, Trump ally Steve Bannon is saying Trump will be president on the afternoon of January 20th, 2029. Your latest column asks, why do Republicans keep claiming Trump isn't serious about staying in office past 2028? And I was wondering if you'd found the answer.
I haven't, but I mean, I think if the one precedent here is that Donald Trump's shown that he is serious. I mean, no one thought he was serious when he talked about overthrowing the election. Everyone figured, okay, he'll eventually, calm down about this. Then January 6th happens. Everyone thought, Canada, Greenland was a joke the last time around. All of a sudden, we have this sort of intra-NATO crisis brewing. So, yeah, I mean, I think Donald Trump has to be taken seriously, and when he says this, and given his own public ambiguity on this, I mean, it's clearly something that people have to worry about. I mean, who knows how it can happen, but I mean, Donald Trump obviously has talked about the methods he has at his disposal, and who knows what that means.
What's that saying? When people show you who they are, believe them. All right, Mark Leibovich, Thank you so much.
Thanks for
having me. That does it.